You're listening to The Manning Report with your host, James David Manning. The news behind the headlines.
I also noticed on Thursday that there was a report coming across the news screen that an oil tanker, an Iranian oil tanker, had been seized in the Mediterranean Sea. And that oil tanker had been seized by the Brits. And that it was an Iranian oil tanker and that had sailed from Iran into the Indian Ocean. And what it could have done is just gone, through the Suez Canal. That tanker delivering oil could have gone through the Suez Canal right into the Mediterranean Sea, 1, 2, 3, real quick. But it sailed all the way around the bottom of Africa, the tip of Africa, and back up the Atlantic Ocean, up around, and then began to make its way back east over Morocco, through the Gibraltar Straits, and between Spain and back into the Mediterranean Sea. At that point, the British intelligence officers boarded the ship and took command of that oil tanker, Iranian oil tanker. Why is that important? It's important for this reason. Iran is not able to sell its oil because of the sanctions that now have been put on it by America and the withdrawal of the Iran, if you will, nuclear compact deal put together by the long-legged Mac Daddy Obama. And so Iran, that tanker was headed for Syria. Now Syria is still buying oil, and oil is a major source of income for Iran. At the same time, Iran has increased its operation of centrifuges. That's a machine and a system by which uranium is turned into plutonium and made ready for nuclear either activity as energy or nuclear power as a bomb or the nuclear explosion device. And what I have discovered and what I've been teaching for some time is that the extracting of oil from the earth is creating pockets in the earth. Now, they've been drilling for oil for many, many years before they realized they had to fill the holes where they take out hundreds of thousands of gallons of oil from, 4,000 or 5,000 feet or 500,000 feet down beneath the surface of the earth. Then they refill that area with sand or concrete so that the earth stays balanced. But they just started doing that. And one of the reasons why you're going to have so many earthquakes in so many places, in diverse places, what Jesus said, is because there's so many holes in the earth, in the core of the earth, where they've extracted all this oil out. And they're extracting more of it out. And the reason why the Tribulation Trump tore up the sanction agreement with Iran and then put the Iranian nuclear deal with Iran is so that he could force Iran to not be able to sell its oil, opening up a greater market for Russia, for Vladimir Putin to sell their oil. Everybody knows that Russia ain't nothing but a gas station with an army. It's a very poor country, Russia is. It's a very poor country. It doesn't have very many resources. The one resource it does have is oil. And if Tribulation Trump can stop Iran from selling oil, then that'll increase the opportunity for more people to buy Russian oil. And that's what this is all about, with Tribulation Trump cutting the deal for Vladimir Putin to stop Iran from selling oil. And some have said that this Iranian tanker could have gone through the Suez Canal right up to Syria in a hop, skip, and a jump. But the reason why it went around, and the U.S. intelligence picked up, is when it left port there in Iran. When it left port, the U.S. intelligence picked it up and tracked it until it got into the Mediterranean Sea, and the Brits then confiscated it. Why did they do that? Why did the Iranians do that? Because we're looking at potential not only earthquakes being caused by oil. Now, this is very important. Remember this going forward. Not only are we looking at the fact that the reason why there are going to be so many earthquakes is because there's so many pockets in the earth where they've extracted this oil and it's just left a big sinkhole, which will create an earthquake. But the other reason that Jesus spoke about in the prophecy is that we're going to have wars and rumors of wars is over this thing called oil. Tribulation Trump said when they went into Iraq, they should have taken the Iraqi oil fields. Saddam Hussein set many of them on fire. They did so in a number of times. But the prophecy that Jesus said years ago, before anybody ever used crude oil or nuclear power, Jesus prophesied about nuclear power and about oil. He said there'll be wars and rumors of wars. And I told you, Elder Smith, I told you that one day of nuclear bombs throwing at one another, that's all. It ain't gonna take those 7 years. It'll take one day. And then the next earthquakes that'll follow after that, and the famines after that. 7 days, the tribulation is coming. It took 7 days, just like it took creation. 7 days, just all it takes is 7 days. Because once they start throwing nuclear bombs at one another, if Iran throws a nuclear bomb at Israel, and America throws a nuclear bomb at Iran, and Saudi Arabia or Yemen or Syria or North Korea throws a nuclear bomb at Russia, it's on. I mean, these bombs will be crossing one another, crisscrossing one another in the sky like ships in the night. But my point is, this oil that's going to cause the earthquakes. It's the extraction of oil that's going to cause the earthquakes, and it is the centrifuging of nuclear power that's going to cause the wars and the rumors of wars. And Tribulation Trump is here to trigger the whole thing. So it's very important that we understand the dynamics and we're able to read into the prophecy of Jesus what we see happening now with Iran.